So I get this asked all the time, Sam, what CRM do you recommend? And I'm also in a very particular cool situation to be in because I get a lot of information about what's working for lawyers, what's not. And what I found out is if there was one really good CRM, I would have already known by now, but there isn't. So what I found out, just little clues, is that ideally there are some certain CRMs that are good for certain practice types.
Yeah, I think that the thing that I say here is you're teaching them not to be crazy, right?
Yeah.
So often the clients get crazy when they
When
don't
they're
know where
left
their
in
case is at.
exactly when people are don't were unclear or have in FUD, the what is it? What FUD stands for, Chris? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's when bad things happen. So make sure that your clients don't have any FUD, basically.
Yeah, and I like the aspect that you said you have like a client success manager. It really reminds me like a SaaS, you're giving this overall experience and teaching them how to work within your processes too, and especially if you're using technology or Loom to communicate. So I think that's really powerful. I like the fact that you've identified and mapped out these different stages, and a criminal defense firm is going to be different than a PI firm, and all the different stages that you encounter. And I think that's super smart. On the CRM side, is there any CRM work? Is there a particular CRM that you recommend? Is it Litify, Filevine? Is there any particular that you kind of lean into?
Yeah. So I get this asked all the time, Sam, what CRM do you recommend? And I'm also in a very particular cool situation to be in because I get a lot of information about what's working for lawyers, what's not. And what I found out is if there was one really good CRM, I would have already known by now, but there isn't. So what I found out, just little clues, is that ideally there are some certain CRMs that are good for certain practice types. So, there are some that are particularly good for PI. I don't want to name particular ones that are good for PI because I'm not 100% sure myself. But from what I know, I'll just put out there, K-Spear, Lawmatics, things like that. But also, so that's that. So practice specific. And then general ones that generally I know are necessarily good are Clio, Lawmatics. Those I would say is like two that are like kind of the front runners right now.
Sure. Yeah. And we've heard a lot about those as well. And yeah, so I don't want to just focus all there because, a lot of times I get this on the project management side as owning an SEO agency, and they're like, well, which project management tool? I'm like, well, they all work. You just have to utilize the tool effectively, within their parameters and capabilities. Yeah. So that's, I love the communication at these different milestones, the client success managers, the different division heads that are interacting, and the director that oversees everything. So then we got the last side, the evangelism, the review side. So let's talk about, first of all, let's, in your words, why are reviews important? There are many reasons why they're important, but in your words, why are they important, and why is the actions after the case settles so important?
Actually, I taught this exact thing to our legal funnel students today about reviews, the power of reviews. So first of all, Google reviews are by far the most important, way more important than Facebook, Avvo, Yelp reviews. So just make sure you're collecting reviews on Google. I'm sure, Chris, you talk about this all the time, right? And your SEO, Google ads, Google local service ads, Google My Business, all that stuff relies on Google. That's one. Second is the idea is when people don't know how to act when they're in unfamiliar situations, that people take cues from other people. And that's the same situation for your potential clients when they're trying to decide whether they trust you enough to hire you or not. Is this law firm legit or not? They will always Google you and they will look at your reviews. And that's why reviews is so crucial, because reviews is basically the biggest factor to getting your potential clients, your leads, to turn them into clients. Nothing is more convincing than your reviews. So it's crucial, especially in this online age, to have a lot of good Google reviews. And I actually have a really good system for be able to collect a lot of Google reviews. Maybe I'll be able to share with your audience today. And actually have over 3,227 Google reviews as a ton of this recording, which is one of the highest in the nation. And that's with even a small team. They're very, very, very small team, and it's all attributed to the system that hopefully I'll be sharing with you right now.
Yeah, let's talk about it, because first of all, that from the SEO perspective, that makes me like That's very powerful. It says on Google Local's page, in terms of prominence, that review count and score is factored into visibility, and I totally agree in terms of the social proof and trust, elements. So let's talk about that. That really excites me. Let's talk about the review acquisition strategy there.
Great. So it's two things. One is the actual script that I'll be sharing with you, and second is some kind of automation component that will automatically send these requests over and over and over and over until they actually do. So first is the script. What most people do is that they most lawyers, they just send, as soon as they want to review, they just send an email or a text and they say, hey, can you leave me a review? And then they sent out the link for the review. Don't do that. It's a mistake because it's too much of an ask. It's very hard. People are lazy, inherently lazy these days. Nobody wants to do anything. Doesn't matter that you've been such an amazing lawyer for them for the past 2 years. People still have a really hard time to do that for you. So instead, you want to break down the ask into 2 asks. First, ask for permission to say, hey, if I send you a link, can you leave me a review? Let them say yes first. Then you send them a link to leave a review. Okay, so you break down the ask. And it's very subtle. And most people are like, okay, that's it. I'm like, yeah, that makes a huge difference. Get people to say yes first, then you send them a link. So I'll share the actual script with you. And whoever that's watching this on YouTube later can see this on the screen. So the first email is essentially says this, and I'll try to read it out for people that are listening in right now. Feel free, if you're listening to this, go pause this and go write this down because this works really well. Again, I've been able to use this exact script to collect over 3,000 Google reviews. So here it is. The first word is personalized, says their name. So John, I'd like to ask you for a favor. Would you please mind taking a few moments to write a review for me? Your comment will help others know what to expect when they're looking for the service I offer. And here's the call to action. May I please send you a link to leave a review, if that's okay with you? Question mark. So you just ask them, hey, is it okay if I send you a link? Then let them say yes. I don't mind. Here, yeah, sure, send me the link. Then once they reply back, then you say, great, thank you so much. Leave a review here. You'll link out to your Google review. And then you say, I really appreciate you doing this. I'll be sure to return the favor when you need assistance in the future. That's it. Ask a very particular way. And then the second part that I mentioned is some kind of automation. So I use a tool called Mixmax, which is an email automation tool that you use inside of Gmail, which, by the way, the whole other conversation, everybody should be on Gmail. Nobody should be using Outlook these days for a lot of reasons. I could talk about it for a good 30 minutes about this. But if you're inside of Gmail, go look up a tool called Mixmax, and you're able to create Mixmax sequences for these 2 emails that basically repeats this ask over and over. So this one will be called review 1 sequence. Until they say, yes, I will leave review, then I will send them this review 2 sequence over and over. So that basically does the follow-up for you. And it kind of increases your chance of usually a 10% chance of people leaving a review. This is anywhere from 30 to 50% of your clients leaving you a review.